Hello everybody, my name is Deirdre Walsh and I'm the Director of the BSc in Applied Psychology. I just wanted to welcome you today to the AIT Open Day and tell you a little bit about our BSc in Applied Psychology here in Athlone. So, welcome first of all, and a lot of the questions that I get are around what type of things that somebody would study in psychology. So I know a lot of people are really interested in psychology, and people sometimes have set ideas about what psychology is and the kind of careers that you can have. So what we do in psychology, really, the definition would be the study of human behavior. And human behavior, we all know it's really broad. So there's lots of different elements and areas of interest within psychology. So I just might bring you through some of them now so you can get a better idea of the types of things that we do. So first of all, when we're thinking about human behavior, we obviously need to think about the physical nature of it and how our brains and our bodies impact human behavior. So in first year and throughout the course, one of the key pillars is to learn about the brain and the biology of our own behavior. So the brain and how it works and how it links to how people perceive different situations, our attention, and our different abilities. We also then have to think about human behavior in terms of groups. So how we interact with one another and how we act in a group and different social phenomena and concepts. So that social behavior can be really interesting when you think about how we work with one another in the workplace, even kind of more topical areas in terms of prejudice, racism, altruistic behavior, helping people. There's a lot of psychology within that. A lot of students are really interested in personality and emotions, and we do a personality module as well within the psychology program, which gives an insight into different personality types and how it's linked with, I suppose, various outcomes and areas around that. We also are really interested in lifespan development. So from when we're even in the womb right up until we're much older adults, our development changes throughout our lifespan, and we focus a lot on these different phases within the life and try and teach people throughout the course how human behavior is impacted by where we're at in that lifespan. So another name for lifespan development would be developmental psychology. And of course, we do research skills. So research skills are a really core part of what we do as well. And it's a really interesting area in that it teaches us how to critically think about experiments, about studies that you might read in the newspaper. And it really helps us to learn how to critically think about things. And it's a great transferable skill to have. So just a kind of a broad overview now of these core areas. So cognitive psychology, these are core areas, these are kind of like the pillars that everybody has to do in every psychology course. That's kind of the foundation for you moving forward in the area of psychology. So cognitive psychology, it's all about the mind, the brain, how it works. When we think about memory, short-term memory, long-term memory, what happens in when we can't pay attention, or what happens if when we go to sleep, what does our brain do? So cognitive psychology covers all those kind of areas. Social psychology we spoke about already in terms of how we interact with different people, and when we have groups of people together, how does behavior change? Developmental psychology, that's our lifespan psychology, looking at from when we're very young, even before we're born in the womb, right up until older adult life. Biological psychology or biopsychology, that is again very linked with cognitive psychology, where we're looking at the brain and the body and how it impacts behavior and our nervous system. And personality psychology, looking at our different areas of personality again. So those are kind of the core areas that you'll be revisiting throughout the program. So if you're interested in those areas, they're ones that we do a lot of hours of in our psychology program. And then we have some specialized psychology areas. And these are more elective areas that people can really focus on and they might want to pursue in terms of their careers in the future. So I myself am a health psychologist. So health psychology looks a lot at health behavior change, things like managing self-managing yourself after experiencing an illness. How do you engage in physical activity? Do you take medication, smoking cessation? All of those kind of health behaviors and seeing how people adapt to different health behaviors. Sports psychology, so looking at sports performance, the life of an athlete in terms of anxiety, depression, how people can use sports psychology to enhance their performance. And then really importantly in our course, we have, because it's an applied psychology course, we have a big focus on mental health and the psychology of mental health, but also looking into atypical development and disability services and how they all work together. So we have a focus on that, which then leads us into our work placement, which we also have within this program. So we have here down at the bottom the professional skills. So there's a lot of professional skills that you can gain from being in this program, and it's a really important part of what we offer. So we have our work placement that's in year 3, semester 2. So when you've had a chance to really gain a good foundation level of knowledge and get some of those applied specialist areas like the psychology of mental health and things like that, to really equip you to head out on work placement. The work placements that we have are really interesting across lots of range of settings. So whether they are working in a primary school in an autism unit, whether they're working with an educational psychologist, working with research and LGBT groups, looking at society and society's perceptions of different people in different groups, among lots of others. So a really wide range of work placements. And it's really important to say that the transferable skills that we work on throughout this course are hugely important to employers in the future. So communication skills, so being able to kind of express yourself in a work setting or an academic setting and communicate really well and clearly with other people. And those research skills, they nearly form like a spine throughout the program where you're learning to assess and evaluate things, and you'll have a really great set of skills, research skills following the program. And academic writing, we have a dedicated academic writing support within the course, and this really helps bring your writing and your communication to a whole new level, which is a really valuable skill going forward into the future. So what is applied psychology? So hopefully you like the sound of some of the core areas that we're doing. And applied psychology, why it interests me more than maybe a course that doesn't have that applied focus. So both of them are equivalent in terms of applying for a master's. But I suppose if you're interested in having that real world focus, if you really want to have a work placement to see what it's going to be like in the future, and if you want to make sure that your assessments that we do are more focused on applying the theory and the knowledge that we've gained and using it within assessments, then I think applied psychology and that focus is something that you should pursue. So we do try and cater and tailor all of our modules and assessments in a very applied way. So our modules, we do have a focus on trying on things that will be transferable to the real world, that's relevant to the community, and that's really important to us. So studying psychology in AIT, I suppose the nuts and bolts of it, these are the key aspects of the requirements that we've had thus far for the program. So it's a level 8 honours degree. It's 4 years long. Other programs are 3 years, but Why we chose to have a 4-year program is so that we can really embed that applied focus and have that work placement, which is really crucial for us. Minimum entry requirements, you can see them here in terms of the points. So last year, our entry for September 2020, the cutoff was 418 points. And also the class sizes are approximately 25. So we range from in and around the 20 area up to about 30. So it kind of averages out around 25. So it's a nice group where we can really get to grips with small group work and get to know one another really well. We also have other routes other than the traditional CAO route into applied psychology and AIT. And I think that's really important, that we have a variety of applicants and people that are interested in applied psychology. It's really valuable for us and for the people who are applying. So relevant courses, these are available in the AIT prospectus. And we're actually the page 67 within that prospectus, if you want a little bit more detail about the entry requirements. So for QQI placement, so if you were working in a post-leaving cert course that is relevant, and we have a list of them in the prospectus, we have about 3 places for those students who are applying that way. It's very competitive. We've had a lot of interest in that area, but if you're interested and you have meet the requirements in terms of the 3 distinctions at a minimum, give it a go and apply to us. Also for mature students, we have up to approximately 4 mature student places each year, and we conduct an interview process. So I would say to mature students who are interested in applying, the things that we're interested in are looking at your life experience and the skills that may be relevant to the program, and obviously your interest and your passion for the subject area, and that you're aware of what we do within the program, and that is suitable to what you want to learn about, and that it fits in with your career plan. So career plans, what are the career opportunities in psychology? So there's so many different pathways within psychology. So I'm going to give you just like a broad overview. And if anybody would like to contact me, if you want further information or if you want to brainstorm, if it works for you and your career path, please do contact me. My details are at the end of this presentation. So I kind of have broken it into a few different areas. We have what some people would consider the direct psychology route, where you are going to complete your undergraduate training and then pursue postgraduate training in psychology to eventually work as a psychologist. Okay, so this is an extensive route. It does take time in terms of the years of study, but it is a very rewarding, comfortable, secure career once you're in place in terms of your job. So things like what you could be working in this route would be, like myself, you could lecture in a 3rd level institute. You could conduct research into different areas of psychology in ITs and universities or in different government organizations. And what a lot of people are very interested in is pursuing clinical psychology and counseling psychology, which are areas where you would be working with groups or one-to-one with people who are experiencing mental health difficulties of some sort. And those people who want to pursue clinical and counselling psychology, a lot of the time you might be working for potentially the HSE or other private organisations that may be part government funded. So that's that route. We also have kind of where people can apply their psychology into different career areas, like in the health area, into sports and using that sports psychology, and even into forensics, where you're working in a counselling role with people who have been incarcerated. We also then have where you can choose to complete your undergraduate degree, but you mightn't want to pursue psychology fully, but you might want to take your knowledge of psychology and use it within different sectors like business, marketing, HR, management. These are all really interesting areas for psychology graduates to pursue, and employers often view a psychology degree as a very high status general degree when they're applying to different companies and different sectors outside of the straight psychology area. So I suppose that kind of has spoken a little bit to, do you have to have further training, or can you use your psychology degree straight away? If you want to work as a psychologist, the postgraduate route is definitely one that you will be going down. But it's really nice that you can discover what you're interested in throughout your undergraduate degree, and then really focus on those through potentially a master's or even a PhD afterwards. And there are so many uses for a psychology degree straight away after your undergraduate. And it's really those key professional transferable skills that will really stand to you when you're in the market looking for a job. So these are the kind of skills that I was speaking about there. As a graduate, you will have excellent research skills, problem-solving skills, and those critical thinking and analysis skills that aren't that common for other graduates. So these can really set you apart. And as well as that communication piece, where we have presentations and different types of assessments that aren't just essay-based throughout the course. So communication skills, project management skills, and that high level of literacy through our academic writing support and numeracy. And of course, then, given the type of program that we're doing, we do a huge amount of individual, but also group work. So you have that ability to work with teams and a lot of experience in that area. And so finally, just to go over the accreditation of the program. So every psychology program that is, I suppose, looking to be able to equip the students to move on to postgraduate teaching in applied psychology or psychology areas, they have to apply to the Psychological Society of Ireland. So when a course begins and is new like our course, each course has to apply to the Psychology Society of Ireland, or the PSI. And so we have done that. We've submitted our application and it's currently under review, and we are due to have our site visit early in 2021 to complete the PSI accreditation process. We are very confident as a department in terms of achieving this approval, and it's something that we've worked very hard to achieve, and we're very happy with how it's went. So once our site visit is complete, when COVID-19 allows our site visit, we will have secured that PSI accreditation approval. So here are my details, dwalsh@ait.ie. So please feel free to email me if you have any further questions, and thank you very much for listening.